G'day guys, Josh Huggett here from Joshua Huggett Media, and welcome to Tog Talk, a show where we talk about stuff. Don't really know... Actually, I do know what we're talking about today. That's a bit of a fucking lie, straight out of the gate. Today's all about me. It's a whole episode all about me, but more realistically, it's just an episode where I'm just going to kind of tell you my story and how we got here and how we got to where we are. The good, the bad, the ugly, literally everything that's kind of happened in my little life. Exciting week, though. It's now July already. That's crazy. It's not July, technically. Today's the 27th of June that I'm filming this. So in the first week of July, we've got the vendor party in Adelaide on the 1st. I'm very excited for that. Tickets have already sold out, stopped selling. So that's exciting. If you are looking at joining a workshop, if you'd like to come and learn how to take better wedding photos, you can come and do that as well. We do still have 6 tickets left for Wedding Mania this December, where you get to come and attend to a real wedding with me. We actually pay for 2 couples to get legally married so that you can get real wedding photos in your portfolio. You're also going to learn from some of the best educators in the country in Mike Jeffrey. He's going to teach you, if you're brand new, so like we split the group into 2. We're actually doing an advanced group and a beginner group. So if you've already got a couple of weddings under your belt, but you want to make yourself a little bit better, you're going to have a more advanced class setup. Whereas if you're just brand new to the industry and you're just trying to get into wedding photography, we've actually got classes dedicated to new photographers as well. So new photographers, Mike's going to run you through exactly how to take wedding photos and what you need to be doing. Advanced, we're going to be talking about more advanced flash techniques and all that sort of stuff as well. We're also learning from Beck, the wedding painter, who has like over almost 2 million followers online, but she's actually got a full marketing degree as well. So she's actually going to be able to help you become a better fucking marketer and actually build a brand around yourself. And then we have Tash from Dawn Photography. She's coming on and she is teaching about how to keep your passion for photography even after you've made it a full-time job. That's the hardest part, is we spend so much time becoming full-time creatives and like spending so much time trying to get to this position where we can take photos all of the time, but then it very, very quickly becomes a job. And unfortunately, that has happened to me. I don't take my cameras anywhere with me now. I literally just take photos at weddings and then my cameras never leave my camera bag. That upsets me, but maybe it's not too late for you. Maybe Tash can help you. It is a class that I'm probably going to attend myself. And then, on the end, we have like a big party. Everybody comes together and we go through all the photos. We talk about editing and all that fun stuff as well. So if you would like to do that, we've got 6 tickets left. It's here in Adelaide. There is accommodation on site for those of you that need accommodation on site. If you're flying in, we've got people flying in from Sydney, Queensland, Perth. There is accommodation on site for those of you that need it. But let's get into today's episode and talk about me, which is weird. I don't really like talking about myself. I talk about my story briefly on podcasts all of the time, and I kind of talk about like the ins and outs of sort of how I got here, but I never really dive too deep into everything. So I'm gonna do that today. We're gonna start from the beginning. I might just fucking lose the hat, to be honest, for those of you watching it. It's hot in here. I've got my heater on. Might just start at the start, and then we'll make our way through everything. But yeah, I'm Josh. I'm 33 years old now. Born here in Adelaide, raised in Adelaide. Grew up in the western suburbs down near Henley Beach, and then, I've spent most of my life there. Went to Emmanuel College, the school here. Great little school, great public, private school, Emmanuel College. Didn't really work for me. Kind of didn't really spend that much time at school. As soon as we got our license and we could get out of there, we did, or we would just kind of like catch the tram and go somewhere else. Could never really pay too much attention. Like I always get distracted and I always wanted to be like somewhere else or doing something else. But I was always like a creative kid. I always had like I was always drawing. I always thought I was going to be a tattoo artist growing up as well. I was always into drawing, and my parents always used to take me to art classes and played fucking so many sports growing up. And I was so shit at all of those sports. Also, warning, probably too late now, but don't listen to this episode with your kids. Don't listen to any of the episodes of anything that I create with your kids in the car. But yeah, I was terrible at sport. Didn't really want to run after the ball. Didn't want to get hurt. Didn't want to do any of that stuff. So sport was never my thing. Always more of a creative. Loved video games. Big video game guy. Oh, big game. We're also, everybody in my house is coming off the back of the flu. Me and my wife fought it. We fought the flu and it didn't get us. I started getting like the shivers, you know, when you get the flu and you get the shivers and you get really cold and then like you can't control your body temperature. I started getting that and then I fucking smashed like 2 liters of orange juice and half a bottle of red wine and I've fought through it. Then what was I up to before I started talking about the flu? Yeah, sporty kid, but not very good at it. Always into skateboarding and all that sort of stuff as well. Loved my skateboarding, loved my BMX riding, loved my snowboarding, still love my snowboarding, and have actually recently picked up a secondhand BMX and taking that to the skate park with my daughter. I actually tried skateboarding again. When was it? 2021, 2020-ish? In COVID, whenever COVID was. I got really into skateboarding again, going to the skate park. I was really practicing, trying to just like move my body. And then middle of the wedding season, middle of March, I came off the skateboard at the top of the ramp and I fell into the ramp and my ACL tried to break, like the muscles in your knee. They tried to snap, but my bone snapped before my ACL. Well, it didn't snap, it like cracked halfway through. So yeah, I broke my tibia in the middle of wedding season. But then I actually happened to get COVID 2 days later, which was kind of a blessing because then that was when you couldn't work for 2 weeks. So I had to rest for 2 weeks. I was on so many drugs because I also, in the same 3 days, this is exactly how it went. I came off my skateboard, broke my tibia. My wife came home from school and she had COVID. So we couldn't then go into work because we lived in the same house. Then the 3rd day, I ruptured a tooth. One of my teeth ruptured into the nerve and I was in the most pain I've ever been in my entire life. Both literally from the top of my head to my fucking legs, to the point that I was just like curled up on the couch and crying. I was in so much pain because there was like nothing I could do. Calling hospitals, like, can someone help me? Can somebody please help me? And everybody said no because my wife was a close contact. I wasn't allowed into the hospital. Absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Like 4 days, 5 days. Insane. I was on so many pain medication drugs and like anti-inflammatories and just like everything. I remember waking up in the morning and I would take like 4 painkillers and 4 antibiotics. And then I would just have like 2 beers and it would just knock me out again. And I would just go back to sleep, or I would live in this like, I couldn't have any fucking bright lights on because it hurt too much. Like that hurt my eyes. Oh, that was nuts. Anyway, always into skateboarding, always into snowboarding, still snowboard now, and I just recently got back into BMX. Didn't really like school. When I left school, my dad was a chef. He was a chef my entire life, and I always thought I would kind of follow that trajectory. So I actually went and got a chef's apprenticeship straight out of school, went and got a chef's apprenticeship at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Big... Everybody's got a convention centre, don't they, where all the events happen. So I was there, I started my apprenticeship, and then I was too much of like a perfectionist with the food. I really wanted all of the food that I made to be perfect. Like they tasked you with like cutting fucking carrots julienne, which is like 3 mil by 3 mil, like a cube, and I was really focused on making it exactly 3 mil by 3 mil, and the chefs were not having a bar of it. And then I remember I had to it was the apprentice's job to make the soup for all of the staff every day. So you had to like make the soup that all the staff would eat for lunch. And I made a minestrone soup because I had fucking no idea what I was doing. I was like 3 weeks in. I'd done a little bit of a TAFE course. 3 weeks in, made this minestrone soup, and the pasta sucked up all of the sauce. Like I got my dad to help me like the day before, teach me how to make a minestrone soup. This is before like Google on your phone. You couldn't just like, this is 2010. This would have been. You couldn't just like whip up a recipe on your phone or anything like that. And then made this minestrone soup, put it in the kitchen for everybody to eat for their lunch, and the pasta sucked up all of the soup sauce. And they came running back down like, what have you done? Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, didn't last as a chef very long. One of the days I knew working at the convention centre probably wasn't for me was my whole job for that day. I was there. It was a 12-hour day, split shift. I made 1,000 mini sticky date puddings. And that's all I did for the whole fucking day. And I just remember being like, this sucks. This isn't fun. This isn't where I want to be. I don't want to do this. Yeah. Didn't last very long as a chef. I still enjoy cooking today. I still love cooking. But yeah, didn't last very long as a chef. And then after that, I was always kind of working in aged care. So got my first job. And my first job was actually Macca's when I was like fucking 15, I think I got there. Because it was just before I got my driver's license. It would have been like 15. Also worked in my parents' bakery growing up as well. But first real job was the nursing home, and that was it wasn't. It was at St. Martin's aged care facility. I remember that. I was like 16. I had a VP Commodore. I could drive myself to work, and it was like $20 an hour, which was huge. I was so excited for $20 an hour because I was coming off like $8 an hour as an apprentice, and I started on $7 an hour at Macca's. And then I went up to like $12 or $13 an hour at Macca's. And then to get $20 an hour was unheard of. It was so good. And that was just washing dishes. I could earn more money in my 3-hour shift than most people would earn. I would earn more money in my 3-hour shift than I used to earn in like an 8-hour shift at Macca's. And I was like, this is fucking sick. And I could just do it after school. So I'd finish school and then I would drive straight to this nursing home. And I would walk around, and my job was like to do a cordial run where you like change all the cordial jugs in all the rooms. And then I had to do all of the dishes after that as well and clean all the dishes. Oh, that was a good job. That was such a good job. And then I used to actually get into work early because I used to love hanging out with the residents. I used to love sitting with the residents and talking to them and like actually just building relationships with these residents. And I used to spend a lot of the time in like the memory support area. The dementia unit is what they used to be called. Now they're memory support units. And I spent a lot of time in there hanging out with people and like just talking to the residents and talking to the old ladies and talking to the guys, and loved it. Absolutely loved it. And then I would go in and wash all the dishes and then I'd finish, and we'd always finish early. Like we'd find ways to like get the job done really, really quickly. And we'd have a really good relationship with the people in the kitchen. Pam, I'm pretty sure the chef's name was. Pam from the kitchen. She was great. She really looked after me when I was like 15, 16. Anyway, loved that job. Ended up loving being with the residents so much that I remember going into the matron's office, essentially. What they're called? What's their fucking name? What are they called? Head of the nursing home. They were called a matron, but then they're not called a matron anymore. Director of nursing? Head of nursing. Director of nursing. Something like that. They run the nursing home. I went into her office and I was like, hey, I really like hanging out with the residents. Like, I just love hanging out with the residents. How can I do that more? How can I spend more time with the residents? And she was like, oh, just go to this place. Go to this place on fucking like a Tuesday or whatever. Tell me what you think and then come back. And I was like, all right, no worries. I went down there and they were like teaching me how to use I was like 18 at this point, I think now. So I'd been there a couple of years and now I was like 18. And then they would teach me how to use the crane to like pick people up, and we like put people in slings and We did like a little thing on shaving and makeup and just general cleaning and that sort of stuff. And then I remember going back to Marion was her name. And I went back to Marion and I was like, yeah, that was fun. That was cool. She's like, oh, great. Glad you enjoyed it. Just sign down here. And I was like, all right, no worries. And then she's like, cool. Oh, well, you start tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, all right, no worries, Marion. And then so I came back at 7 o'clock in the morning and I'd signed up for a traineeship to become a carer. So like they paid for my studies to do my Cert 3 in aged care. And then I just became a carer at like 18. So I was like cleaning people and changing continence aids and showering people. And that was great. I fucking loved that job so much. Long story short, I was in aged care for like 11 years. Never left it. And even now, if I was to go back, I reckon if this ever ends and I ever leave this job, I'll probably be going back into aged care. The money's never been great. Apparently it's getting better, but I'd love to go back to aged care. But yeah, so I worked as a carer from 18 to 20 something. All this time I was also taking photos. So I did photography in high school and then left high school and still kind of did photography for a while. And then I really got into photography when I started taking photos of abandoned buildings. And like I actually fucking just yesterday on my stories, we did a thing where I went back and looked at my first YouTube video, my first ever YouTube video. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can go back and have a look because it's all on the same channel. My first YouTube video was actually 2016. And that was my first ever vlog. And I remember standing out there, but we'll get to that in a sec. Worked in aged care, loved hanging out with the residents, and then I hurt my back and I went on work cover because I fucking got bulging discs in L3 and L4. Anybody tall or with a sore back knows what L3 and L4 are. They're the lower vertebrae. So I was on work cover for like a year, I think, maybe 6 months, and I was earning fucking like $300 a fortnight, $400 a fortnight or something. No money at all, but I was living out of home and I was living in a share house with my mates. And some of my favorite memories are from that time. I was in ridiculous amounts of pain, but we would just like hang out and we'd go to the pub. And I was like a young guy, 19 years old, 20 years old, just like living this fucking sick life, hanging out with my mates, drinking, getting stupid tattoos. But like, you'd go to the pub and all of my friends were tattoo artists. So we'd go to the pub, we'd come up with a stupid tattoo design. Then we'd go to the studio the next morning and do the tattoo design. You'd give your mate like $100 because he was just learning how to tattoo. So you'd give him like $150. And then you'd go to the pub that night and he'd spend the $150 on beer. And then you'd go back and just do it all again the next day. That were the good old days. Down at Glenelg, down at the Jetty Bar and the Pier, and where else we used to go? The Dublin, before it was the Moseley. Anybody from Adelaide will know all those names. Jetty Bar was a good one. But we mainly went to the Pier. Made some fucking great friends. Friends that I still have now. Like Matty B and fucking Taco and Jaden's always been there. But like all these friends that you just kind of like hung out with at the time. And then, yeah, I was on work cover trying to get back and I was like, hey, can you just teach me? Like they've told me that I can't go back to caring. They've told me that I shouldn't go back to a caring job. I want to do Cert 4. I want to become I want to do lifestyle. I want to like learn how to do the games and that way it's not as physically straining on my back, but I can still help people and I can still be around the people that I love, like in fucking aged care. It's just where I want to be. And they just wouldn't help me. They wouldn't let me do my studies. They wouldn't help with the studies. So I ended up just doing the studies on my own accord. I went out and my mum helped me sign up and ended up doing Cert 4 and I paid for it myself. And I didn't, like, with no fucking money. I think I'm pretty much guaranteed my parents would have paid for it. They're fucking so good to me, my parents. But yeah, I did my Cert 4 in leisure and health and then went and got a job at Ananda Aged Care in Findon. And that was fucking great. So many good years, but almost like also shit years there at the same time. Like, but we were all in the trenches together. So like there are so many things that you want to change about aged care, and there are staff members, and everywhere you go, every industry that you're in, no matter what you're doing, like even now as wedding vendors, like although we don't have a workplace per se, we still have people that like you get along with or people that you don't get along with. It's just like there was always a couple of people there that none of us got along with that made our life a living fucking hell. And anybody that listens to this that knows me from that time will know who it is. But they made our life a hell, but we were all in it together. We were all in the trenches together. It made some of the fucking greatest connections I've ever had at that job. But I was doing what I enjoyed. I was like a Cert 4. I was working in aged care. I was playing games, and like I literally played bingo for a living. But that's where I learnt most of my like personal skills that, you know, people was like, oh, how are you so good in front of people? How are you good at talking to people? How are you good at like getting information out of people? And all of that came from my time in aged care, where somebody would like come into the nursing home, they'd have a fall at home, and they'd be told like, hey, you can't go home. You're not gonna survive at home. You're in a nursing home now. And then my job being lifestyle was that I was like the first person in the room. So Lynn was my boss. Fucking love Lynn. She was like a second mum to me. Lynn would send me in. She's like, Josh, go get the information. You know, we need to make like a lifestyle activity plan. We need to make like find out what games they like to play and all that sort of stuff so that we can make the rest of their life as good as possible. And then, so they would send me in. They'd send me into the room, and you'd be fucking face to face with somebody that's just been told they're never going home again. They're going to die here. And your job is to find out what they think is fun, which is essentially what we do when we go to like the boys getting ready and stuff. Like they don't want us there. So our job is to make it as fun as possible. But we went into we would go into the residents' rooms. So we had to find out what they enjoyed and what games they liked to play and what they wanted to do. And you learn very quickly how to like kind of bring people on side and teach people that it's not actually that bad and that you're there to help them. And it was tough, but it was fun, like good but bad, if that makes sense. Did that for, I think I was at Ananda for like 6 years, 5 years maybe. In lifestyle, loved it. Ended up doing some shifts as a carer as well towards the end, and testing the waters. But they really took a punt hiring me at Ananda because I was physically on work cover, and they took a punt hiring me that I wouldn't get sore, and it fucking paid off. What the good old days. Loved my time at Ananda. Made some great friends. Ellen, Shauna, Jamaica, Lynn, Nicole, Sandra. Fuck, Sundays in the nursing home, we'd just always order hot chips and we'd get them for lunch. We'd all sit outside and I'd fucking like punching darts like there was no tomorrow. The good old days. Then, while I was there, I still had my photography business and I'd actually started my vlog. So when I was I'll go into this very, very briefly, but when I was at Ananda, I was seeing a girl at the time and she passed away out of nowhere. Very sporadic, very out of nowhere. Aneurysm, 21, healthy. That was Inga. It was great. And then, so that really kind of fucked me up for a while. And that's what started the vlog. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up, is because that's what started the vlog. I was like, I need to do something that'll make me creative again. I need to do something that is actually going to get my fucking brain ticking and use my creative juices, because I haven't really done anything in ages. And that's that first vlog. I was like on grievement leave. And it took me like 7 attempts to just turn the camera on myself and film something. I remember it. It was so fucking hard. So anybody watching this, it's like, oh, I just can't talk in front of the camera. Like, it took so fucking long to get to that point. It took me 7 attempts just to start that one little video. Again, you can find it. It's on the YouTube channel. You can just scroll down and have a look. I needed to start creating something and using my brain, and that's what kind of really kicked off the photography business and everything after that was like 2016. And that's when we were like, no, let's do something creative. Let's get out of here. We were kind of like, our time in aged care was like coming to an end. We were unhappy, like happy in the job, but unhappy in the situation. If that meant like, if you kind of understand that, like you enjoy your friends and everything that you're doing there, but you're also just kind of like not that happy. You'd be happier doing or being somewhere else. So that was what kind of like kickstarted it. So we were trying everything that we could to get out of aged care. We were trying everything that we could. I say we, it was just fucking me, to get out of this situation. So we were like making drop shipping stores online. We were starting online clothing brands. We were trying to build audiences around veganism. Like I've been vegan for almost 15 years now. We were like trying fucking everything that we could to make an income that was our own. We knew, and I fucking knew back then that as soon as I can do something for myself, and as soon as I saw the potential in myself when nobody else would, and I knew that I could do something fucking great if I was given the opportunity. And that's exactly what I was starting to build. I just didn't know how to fucking do it yet. And this is where all the trials and tribulations sort of start, is like, I'm trying to get to this fucking place. I know that as soon as I can become self-employed and as soon as I'm in charge of my own fucking income, that I can fucking kill it. But I was just trying to get there, like try and drop shipping. And wedding photography hadn't even crossed my fucking radar at this point. Didn't want to be a wedding photographer. I never wanted to be a wedding photographer. And then, so I was trying drop shipping stores. I was doing Facebook targeting ads, like learning and trying to make stores and trying to figure something out. And I knew I wanted to make money online. And then, yeah, it just didn't work. Didn't work. Thousands of dollars down the drain on Facebook ads that never went anywhere, or drop shipping stores that never made any money, or online businesses that never came to fruition, or yeah, so much stuff. And then, yeah, ended up leaving there, moved down south with my now wife, Bianca, and just couldn't handle the drive. It was like a 45-minute drive, 50-minute drive every day. And I couldn't hack it. I didn't really like it. So we moved down south, moved to Huggett Cove, which is an area here in SA. And that was good. Loved that house. That was like a really fun little time. But I couldn't handle the drive to Findon every day. Just fucking back and forth. And I didn't like losing 2 hours of my life every day just driving. I don't know how people do that. If you do that for like in life, I don't know how people drive 2 hours every single day, back and forth. Especially in major places like Sydney and even Melbourne at times, like when you're just sitting in bumper to bumper traffic. Cool, because you get to listen to like podcasts and stuff, but podcasts wasn't really that big back then. There wasn't really anything to kind of do. And I never had a reliable car. So as soon as I got like a reliable car, it like wouldn't have air conditioning, or I'd have a car that had air conditioning, but if you stopped, it would overheat, or there was always something wrong with one of them. But this is when I was like really into my abandoned buildings. Those videos are still here too. You'd go walking through abandoned buildings, making walkthroughs. My plan was to I was going to become this abandoned building person, like Exploring with Josh. If you know anything about abandoned building videos, you probably know Exploring with Josh. He's probably one of the biggest ones that does it, maybe, over in America. And I was going to be like that version here in Australia, and I was going to travel around Australia just walking through abandoned buildings and making videos, and like that was what my goal was set on. And then when you get into photography and stuff, you learn very, very quickly that like you actually need to make some money with photography to buy the gear, because gear is expensive. So I was shooting on a Canon 80D that I was gifted, and then it just needed new lenses. Like I needed a wide angle lens so that I can film wider things, and like I think it was like an 11 to 14 on the crop sensor, which would be what, 15 to 24 on a normal lens, on a full body. Anyway, I needed to make some money, so that's when we started shooting events like 21st and 30th and literally anything that came my way, I was like donating my time, or I was trying to find a way to actually make some money. I still remember my first ever paid gig was a 30th birthday, and I didn't know how much to charge. Like, no one had ever fucking paid me to take photos before. So I think it was like $50. I'm pretty sure I did it for like $50. And I went and took photos of this 30th birthday for $50. But that was the first money that I ever made. I made money with photography just with my camera. Someone had physically paid me money to take photos, and that was fucking amazing. That was such an amazing feeling that it was not, like, in the scheme of money and how much money you can make, $50 is nothing. But I remember that first $50 at Kara's 30th birthday, and that came from. So the way that you can get your first ever paid gig, and this is how I got my first ever paid gig. I went on Instagram and I DM'd every single cafe and every single hairstylist that I could find. I went to like Adelaide and I searched for hairdressers and cafes, and I messaged every single hairstylist and every single cafe that I could find, and I said, hey, I'd love to take some photos for you for free for your social media. You can do whatever you want with those photos, but if you like them, I'd love it if you could give somebody a business card. If you hear of anybody looking for a photographer, have a business card. So I went and did a bunch of hairstylists. I went and did a bunch of cafes. Realized cafes probably not the best one, but my thought process was find people that spend a lot of time with their clients. Hairstylists. They're always there playing with hair, plaiting hair, washing hair. They're going to talk. They talk, most people build a pretty good relationship with their hairdresser. So if you can give them value, then they'll be able to talk to their client. And if their client's looking for a photographer, then they'll be able to recommend me because I came and did all of their photos for free. That was my thought process, and it paid off. Got my first ever paid gig, and I was like, this fucking rules. Just got paid to take photos. This is absolutely amazing. Did that. That led to an engagement party, and at the engagement party, I took some engagement photos as well. And then I used those engagement photos and the money that I'd made from those two weddings. It was like $50 and like $100, I think. And I doubled my income in like 2 weddings. Woo! But then I used that income to run some Facebook ads using what I'd learned in my fucking drop shipping days to target people. I used that to target people in Adelaide that were engaged so that I could put my ads in front of people. And then there were some Facebook groups of people like looking for engagement photographers and stuff. And that's when I got volunteered to shoot my first ever wedding in 2017, I'm pretty sure it was. And that was by my auntie Kate. She volunteered me to shoot a wedding for her friends in the Flinders Ranges. And I went up and I did that for free. She was like, oh, you take photos, come up here, I'll pay for your campsite. So I drove, we had a camper van at the time. Me and Bianca bought this old Toyota Hiace and we built it out to be a camper van. There's a video on this YouTube channel about me putting in the floor. I was going to make a whole series about it, but I just kind of didn't get the time. But I drove that van to the wedding, but just as I got to near Port Augusta, there's like a turn-off between the Flinders Ranges and Port Augusta, and I looked down and the car was like piping red hot. It was so overheated. So I was like, fuck, Jesus, what do I do now? So I turned around, drove into Port Augusta, tried to cool it down, head gasket completely gone, engine completely fucked. Luckily, my mum, every year for my birthday, all I get from my birthday present from my mum every year is RAA membership, because otherwise I'll forget to get it. So that's what she gets me every year. This year it came in handy. They gave me a car. I was able to drive to the wedding, shoot the wedding, sleep on the floor instead of sleeping in my camper van. Stayed the night in Port Augusta, drove to the wedding the next day, shot that wedding, and I was like, oh, this actually isn't that bad. Because like I'd never wanted to be a wedding photographer. I had no interest in being a wedding photographer. I had no interest in wedding photography at all. I thought all wedding photographers were like stuck up fucking suits that, you'd be in like all white buildings and it was all fancy and just like the opposite of what I shoot. Look at Lauren Ashley's weddings. That's what I thought all weddings were like, where everybody had to be dressed to the nine and like you had to wear a suit and you'd go in there and you would like had to be all fancy. And I'm just fucking not that guy. So I was like, I don't want to be a wedding photographer. But I went and did this one and it was super relaxed. They did like a foot ceremony where they put their feet in the ground. Oh, what's it called, Josh? Oh, I just said it the other day. Anyway, it's a ceremony where you put your feet in the grounding ceremony. Put your feet on the ground. Grounding ceremony. And that was sick. And then we just went into like this barn, had some beers, took some photos. So good. So good. And then I came back to Adelaide, and then one of my friends at the time, her wedding photographer happened to just bail on her. And she was like, Josh, you shoot weddings? And I was like, yeah, I do. I've got experience now. I've done one. She's like, can you be my wedding photographer? And I was like, absolutely I can. I know what I'm doing now. And then, yeah, shot hers. That was Chloe's wedding. And then I had another wedding. I managed to book in another wedding before that because somebody else bailed. And somehow I got that wedding. That was Rhiannon and Lanny. And that was two girls. That was fucking great as well. And then all of a sudden I'd done 3 weddings and then I used all of that stuff. So when I was shooting the second 2 weddings, because I knew I wasn't qualified. I knew I probably wasn't as qualified as I needed to be. I'm sure I could have done a good job of the photos, but probably not the best job. And I'm so glad that I was self-aware enough to know that and figure that out before fucking up somebody's wedding date. And this is what I think anybody should do if you're starting and you don't know, and you'd like, maybe you've shot 2 weddings and you're still kind of learning, is bring a second shooter, pay a second shooter to come and shoot the wedding with you, but make them far more qualified than you. I brought a second shooter with me to weddings that was far more qualified than I was. And I was learning from them while also doing the thing that they hired me for, which was making them feel comfortable. So we used photos from both galleries. That way I knew that we would have really nice photos from the professional that had been doing it for a long time. But I was also able to put my little bit of spice into it. And the reason that people hired me, I was able to do that as well. So I was able to take wedding photos. I mean, the second shooter got paid more than I did for those weddings, but I was able to learn for bookings that I already made, and I didn't risk anybody's weddings in the process. And then so I used all the content from that and the money that we made from those weddings, which was like $1,000 and $1,500, I'm pretty sure, used all of that information to then, or all of that marketing material to then market ourselves as more weddings, more targeted ad campaigns. That's when we started our free engagement shoot campaign, where we would offer a free engagement shoot with every wedding. So you booked in with us, we would give you a free engagement shoot, and then you would have engagement photos that you could use for whatever you wanted. I would have more content, so I was able to post on Instagram like every single day because I was giving out engagement shoots. So I was getting content here, but I was also getting wedding bookings. So for those first couple of years, we were working really fucking hard, like doing engagement shoots every weeknight and then shooting weddings on the weekends. But I was also holding down a full-time job. So I was still working in aged care. I ended up going to Life Care Ranella, became a senior team leader. So I was like med comp. I was doing meds. I was running a 13-bed unit. I was showering people. I was running all of the activities. I was running all of the games, all for this one unit, whilst also building up my photography business. And then I found out I was going to be a dad. And I was like, fuck, this doesn't work. There's so much happening and I need to earn more money. Like I wasn't earning much money in aged care. Even as a senior team leader, I earned like 50 cents an hour more than everybody else. But I had fucking so much more stress. But I remember finding out I was going to be a dad and I was like, fuck, like, what do you do? Like, how do you're trying to build a business and you're trying to chase your dreams on one hand, but you also need to like hold down a house on the other hand. And like, we just got a mortgage and we like literally the day we moved into our house, me and Bianca bought a house. She was working as a teacher. I'm working in aged care. And then bought our house. The day we moved into our house, hadn't even unpacked the boxes yet. Like literally fucking just moved into the house. Found out we were having Violet, our daughter, and changed fucking everything. Like we had 2 dogs at the time that were assholes and didn't get along. So we had to separate the backyard. So we bought a small house with a big backyard so that the dogs had room to play and we didn't need much space because it was just the 2 of us. The house was on a lien and that made it cheap. Our Woodcross house, that was a good one. But yeah, so we just got a mortgage and I was like, fuck, what do you do? Like, trying to build up this business, still got to help the family, hold down this. Bianca's not going to be working soon. How are we going to pay the bills? How are we going to pay the mortgage? Trying to build this business, trying to shoot weddings and stuff on weekends and engagements and trying to get something. And then so I left. Bianca was like 6 months pregnant. 5 months pregnant. Left there. Got a job as a car salesman for Adelaide Vehicle Centre. Great bunch of people. Really enjoyed the job. Completely changed industries, like overnight. Literally fucking overnight, I was like, I need to do something else. Like I need to make more money. I need to be able to support the family. So I went from there to Adelaide Vehicle Centre. Would have started there at the beginning of 2019, just before COVID hit. So then got this job. I'm working as a car salesman, actually doing well. I was a good car salesman. Hard to believe, I know, for somebody that talks for a living, but I was actually a good car salesman. So I was making good money. I was supporting my family. I was building my photography business. My daughter was born. That was all fucking great. All sunshine and roses. So if anybody's looking at if anybody ever looks at my finger tattoos, if you see them online, I'll try to get them in focus. Like there's 2019 because that's when my daughter was born. Maybe we do a tattoo talk one day when I talk about all my tattoos. But I was working as a car salesman, doing well, making money, and then building weddings. Like I reckon I had like 30 weddings in the calendar. And I'm like, fuck, here we go. Like we're actually starting to get some momentum going now. We're actually starting to make some money. Like got some stuff booked in. And then literally I'm like pretty close to leaving my job and I'm just like, I'm almost a wedding photographer. And then COVID hit and we lost everything. We lost our entire industry. I lost all of my wedding bookings overnight. I lost like $20,000 from my bank account. I had to pay back people that had paid me in advance. For some fucking reason, I refunded a bunch of deposits as well. Don't know why I did that, but I was still new into nobody knew what was happening. So everybody was trying to reclaim their money and I was kind of nice enough that I gave it back. So I lost like 20 grand, fucking overnight. And then everything got shut down. I remember that. And I went from having a surplus of income where making money as a car salesman, making money in weddings. My photography business was paying for itself. At this point, I've taken no money out of my photography business. Every single dollar that I earned, I reinvested into the business because I had a job. I had a job that paid for my job stuff. So everything that we bought for our photography business was bought with photography funds. I always bought secondhand cameras. I always bought secondhand lenses. I bought nothing new. I was shooting on a Canon 5D and a 6D Mark 1, pretty sure, at that time. I've still got them behind me. I've still got so if you see this, if you're watching the video, there's a shelf behind me. That's got all of the cameras that I've ever owned on it. One day I'm going to make my own museum. But yeah, I was still shooting on secondhand lenses. I was just trying to build up my gear. I didn't have any money. I'm trying to fucking spend money on ads. This is where people have got it far easier these days, where you can just go and buy a Canon R6 on Marketplace for $2,000 and it'll come with a lens that's fucking already so good. I was shooting on lenses without proper autofocus and lenses that had mold in them and just trying to get ahead. And then COVID hit, lost fucking everything. We lost all of our commissions as car salesmen. So we went from actually making money in car sales to not making any money in car sales. We went back to, and we didn't close. We were very lucky that we got Job Seeker as well. Not Job Seeker, fucking something. We got some government fucking fund thing. So we went from earning like proper money to $500 a week. And I remember this moment where I sat outside. I sat on our outdoor table. Bianca was inside with Violet. I sat outside at the outside table and I fucking brought my notebook outside and I did the maths on like how much our life costed. And I was like, because we had a car loan at the time, so car loan, mortgage, food, nappies, insurance, whatever, fucking rego. And there wasn't enough money coming in on a weekly basis to cover the costs of how we were living. Like, and we weren't living extravagant lifestyles. You couldn't. It was fucking COVID. So even like in the middle of COVID, when you couldn't spend any money, we didn't have enough money coming in on the Seeker to pay for what we needed to actually survive. And that fucking terrified me. Absolutely terrified me. And that's when I actually went back to aged care. I don't actually know if the car yard knows this, but during COVID, there was a time where we were working week on, week off. So like, I don't think I need to explain weekend, week off, week on, week off, but you would work 1 week and then the next week you went home so that they could save on income and stuff. And on that week home, I went back to life care and did nursing home shifts again, just so that I actually had enough money coming in so that I could kind of pay my mortgage that week. It was wild. The bank wouldn't freeze it. Like the bank wouldn't freeze your loan because, they only made billions of dollars that year. They couldn't afford to like pause people's loans or whatever. So I went back to aged care just to actually see it through that time. But then it was in COVID. It was in the heart of COVID that I started rebuilding my business from the ground up. And I changed fucking everything. I remember having this like cathartic moment when I was sitting on the car yard and I was like looking in like the Ben Hartley Facebook groups and the Taylor Jackson groups and stuff. I still got friends from those groups. Like I still like Duncan, he came and shot my wedding and I'm going to his wedding next year. I met him in these Facebook groups. These Facebook groups, like get in there and fucking the Taylor Jackson group in like those 2018, 2019, 2020 years was so fucking good. I built my business from the ground up. I remember having this cathartic moment where like I was sitting there and I was like, fuck this, fuck everything. Because I used to shoot weddings in a white shirt and like business pants, like every other wedding photographer. Because that's what I was trying to be. Like you Googled wedding photographer outfit and that's what came up. And that's what I was trying to be. I remember being like, fuck this. This fucking sucks. Like I don't want to do this. I don't want to be this person. I don't want to have like a signature fucking for my logo. I don't want to pay for like calligraphy fucking, and I don't want a white website that looks like every other website in the world. I don't want to have like, I don't want any of this. I don't want it. I'm fucking done. I'm so sick of this. And I remember the moment and I changed my business logo to, now for those of you that are hardcore fans, you'll understand, but like the old school hardcore logo that was like an X and it had JHPV, Josh Huggett photo video in an X. Kind of like an old Terra logo or an old like Earth Crisis style logo. And I was like, fuck this. Like I'm just a hardcore kid that wants to take photos. And that's when we really started kind of like leaning into being ourselves, because there was this big disconnect of like me just being a hardcore kid that likes to have fun and hang out and do stupid stuff. And then we would meet on like a Zoom call and I would be this hardcore kid and we'd have all of this stuff in common. And then it would come to the wedding day and I'd look like a fucking nerd, which I am. Like I am a nerd. I play Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons and video games and stuff. But like I looked like a fucking square in a white button-up shirt, brown fucking straps and business pants and leather style shoes. And that's not me. That's not who I am. So I remember that moment where I changed my logo I was like, fuck this, fuck everything. I'm just going to be me. I'm just going to be exactly who I want to be. And that's why we kind of just lent all in on me. We rebuilt the business from the ground up. I don't know if I had the black website at that time, but I definitely started leaning more into like everything that kind of made me me. And then, yeah, we just kind of kept building free engagement shoot campaigns. I'm a hybrid shooter, so I was offering both photo and video for cheaper than most people could just get a photo. Like I was doing a full photo and video day for like $3,000, $3,500, and then I slowly started increasing my pricing. I remember getting to the point, and I was still working a full-time job, so I was still working. My daily life used to be waking up at like 6:45 in the morning, getting dressed, going to the car yard, starting at 8 o'clock, working from 8 until 5:30, finishing at 5:30, getting home for 6 o'clock, having dinner with Bianca and Violet, and like she was just a baby, spending about half an hour with my family. Then they would go to sleep because Bianca was up all night with baby stuff. I was working. I would then go and work on my wedding photography business all fucking night. I would work on my photography business until like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I'd go to bed, I'd wake up, and I'd do the exact same fucking thing every single day, whether I'm editing photos, I'm editing videos, I'm building out a website, I'm working on my back end, not my bum, I'm working on the back of my website. Every fucking day, I would just keep fucking working and building weddings and doing Zoom calls and doing engagement shoots and then editing the engagement shoots, trying to find my color, trying to find my fucking thing over and over and over again. It was exhausting, still is exhausting, but like it was exhausting at the time. And then I remember the moment that like weddings are on Saturdays, and as a car salesman, you work every single Saturday. So I had this kind of moment where Vinny was the owner, and he was like, can't take Saturdays off anymore. And I organized a meeting with him, and I was like, hey man, I need to go part-time. Is there a way that I can go part-time? Because like I've got weddings, and like I had my wedding photography business before I started here. I'm going to have my wedding photography business going forward. Something needs to happen. And he said that he understands, but like there's no such thing as part-time in car sales. You're either working full-time or you're not working at all in car sales. If you make arrangements for one, you're going to make arrangements for the others, and that's it. It's just, so that was kind of I was like, well, my time here has an end. Like there's an end date on my time here. So I had to build my business as much as I possibly could. I was making about $100,000 to $120,000 a year in the car sales job. So I needed to have that much money in wedding bookings before I could leave. That was my goal. That's the goal that I'd set myself. I need to be able to replicate my photography income from my car sales income so that my family doesn't miss out, because I'm still now like the only income source. So I was like, well, I need to fucking like, I can't just quit my job and go chase my dreams, because I've still got to pay a mortgage, pay a fucking car loan, pay everything, so that we didn't have to pay childcare and stuff, because Bianca stayed home, so that we didn't have to pay childcare. And so I had to build out the business to the point that I had enough in the fucking bookings to do that. All while on the back end being like, COVID could come back at any second and take all of this away. And then I don't really remember the conversation with Bianca, but the next stage was like leaving. I remember leaving the car yard because we had enough bookings in the calendar. We were shooting weddings, ready to leave, ready to go, spread my wings and start my fucking life. And then, yeah, Bianca like went back to work and she went back to teaching, and I was a stay-at-home dad because I left the car yard, and then I got a job in a nursing home in Victor Harbor, and I was there 2 days a week, I think. So it was like an hour and a bit to drive there and an hour and a bit to drive back. And I worked there like 2 days a week, just in lifestyle, like running activities and games and stuff. Actually met some cool people there. got a couple of weddings out of it too. So I remember that, and I left, and Bianca went back to work. So Bianca would work in the day, and I would hang out with Violet, and then I would go from Bianca would come home, we'd fucking high five, and then I would leave and I would go work in the nursing home. And then there were some days we had to take Violet to childcare, and then I would try to work on my business, but I'd stay up late working on the business anyway and be a stay-at-home dad, and we'd fucking go to the playground, and it was sick. It was a cool little time. It was fun to be a stay-at-home dad for like 2 months. And then the wedding season kicked off, and we actually started making money again, which was nice. And then, I remember that, like, just telling Bianca, like, probably don't go to work because I need to actually work on the business. Like, it's a bit of a risk. We'd need to take a bit of a gamble, but I'm pretty sure I can do it. Like, I can do this if I fucking put my mind to it. And there was this moment where I was tossing up whether or not I should leave this nursing home job. It only made me like $200 a week, $250 a week after tax or whatever. And I was like, I should just quit. I should just quit this job. I should just quit this job and go all in on myself. I know I can do it. Just fucking pussyfooting around. And then I remember handing in my resignation, being like, no, I'm not coming back. And then like 2 days later, I booked a last minute $2,000 wedding. All because I was free, because I didn't have any jobs or anything. And that $2,000 wedding would have paid for 10 weeks worth of work at the nursing home. And I was like, yeah, I think I've made the right decision here. Like, that was a sign, if you will. That was a sign that this is what we should be doing. So left, went all in on me, and then fucking here we are. What now? 5-6 years later after that. Just working, slaying away. Slay the day away, shooting weddings all around the country, all around the world. There was the cathartic moment in 2023, December 23, 2023. I don't know why I'm saying it so weird, but that was the day that I went all in on education and teaching and content creation and all that sort of stuff. So I've always helped people. I've always had people come to weddings with me. If you want to learn how to become a wedding photographer, I've always brought people on with me so that you can come and learn, because I could always benefit from that, because I could put them into my associate teams and we could build them out that way. But I made a post on Facebook on December 23, 2023. There's a YouTube video here about it as well that you can watch. But calling it out, being like, yep, next year we're going all in. We're going to do content creation. I know we've got something special. We're going to fucking do it. And then that's exactly what we did. And now here we are, 200,000 followers later, almost 10 years later, and I'm tired. Nah, it's been a fucking wild ride. It's been sick. Best job in the fucking world. I've met some absolutely ridiculously fucking talented people, and I've made some ridiculously good friends, even if they do live on the other side of the world and we can only talk through message. It's the best. Wherever you are at in your little business, the one takeaway that I would give you is to believe in yourself and you can achieve anything. But more realistically, like, if you are on that edge, and now I'm a safe guy, don't just tomorrow quit your job and be like, I'm going to be a wedding photographer, because that's not how it fucking works. Even when you start as a wedding photographer, you don't make any money for 3 years. You don't make fuck all, because what you're doing is taking deposits, and then those deposits, you get paid like a year and a half, 2 years later. So you need to work really fucking hard for like 3-4 years, build up a big catalogue of weddings, a nice little calendar there that's going to see you through. And then when you're on that cusp, as soon as you get to that cusp of like almost making it, you're so close, you're not sure, you're almost there, that's when you just fucking dip your balls in and just do it. Like, that jump is so fucking rewarding. You're going to free up so much time, so much mental space, and you're going to fucking nail it. Start your Facebook targeted ad campaign. We do have a course on that if you'd like to buy it. I think it's like $100. And you can learn all about Facebook ads, but just do it. Just if you're on that cusp, if you're fucking close, just go all in. Stick to the fucking goal. Anyway, that's me. I've got 2 kids now. Jack came and I got married in that time as well. I don't think I forgot too much, but I don't want to take too much of your time just talking about myself. Hope you enjoyed this episode. This is a little bit different, isn't it? Not talking about controversial stuff or wedding photography in general, but I thought it would be I don't know. I thought maybe somebody might find it interesting to my backstory and kind of how we got to here anyway. So hope you enjoyed it. Next week, we're going to talk about something else. I don't know what it is yet. I normally wake up and have an idea for an episode and then I just film it. So we'll come back. And I don't write scripts or anything either. It's all off the top of my dome. Every episode is off the top of my dome. There's no scripting here. No questions for guests. No nothing. We just fucking figure it out as we go along. So hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world. Whatever you're doing. Till I see you next time. Until you hear my voice in your little fucking ear holes. Just know that I love you very, very much and you are very, very much appreciated. Have a fantastic day. Love you.